Welcome to It's All Fine and Dangy, where we talk about community, health, culture, and all of the big and little things that make life good. Here are your hosts, Dan and Angie.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 15. I still sound like Miss Doubtfire.
You sang it just like I normally do.
Did I?
You sang the word hello.
Well, welcome to our 15th episode. So today is our 4th of July special. We're so excited for the month of July because we've got the special episode today all about the 4th of July. And then starting next week, we're getting into local hotspots. The only thing I'm not sure about with next week is we're going to be on vacation. So that could just be a series of small little snippets that we post on Facebook Live. We haven't decided yet, but this month is all about local hotspots, and we've got some interviews lined up with some great guests, and we're going to be at some really cool places this month. So I'm getting all tongue-tied today.
You are getting tongue-tied.
No, it's late.
And we have a really cool guest today.
We really do.
Stay tuned for the... What is it?
Community call out.
I forgot.
You can tell we're not doing...
You always intro that one. That's why I always forget.
We're not doing this and that chit chat over coffee this morning because we're recording this very late and there is no coffee drinking this late. So we're not as sharp as we normally are.
Oh, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I almost feel bad saying this because we always say it, but we've been very productive.
Yes, we have, as is most people. Well, if that's a sentence, I don't know. I don't know.
As are most people. Yeah, it's true. Most people are.
I had a biology class today, and my mind's like
fried.
Yeah.
Well, I still feel like I'm traveling. In the past couple of weeks, I've been traveling around. I just got back from San Diego, and we spent the weekend working on the house, which I know everyone's tiring of. But we did install the microwave, and we still like each other.
We do. We do still like each other.
That's a feat after you install a microwave for the first time.
You know what I really like, though?
What?
All of my new appliances.
Yes, indeed. Well, you know what? Angie and I came to this conclusion. The instructions that come with things like microwaves, once you figure out what they're trying to say and how ridiculously easy it is to install, you're like, the instructions made it so much harder.
They really do.
Yeah, that was a big part of the problem. But anyway, it's been interesting past few days. San Diego was beautiful. It was all about work, though. And, yeah.
Yeah. And I got to house sit for the Vander Sandens this past weekend and watch all the puppies.
I know.
Doggies. It was very fun.
It looked fun. And for everyone that watched us on Facebook Live, where we did the Kindle giveaway, we got about 3 minutes into the Facebook Live, and I don't know why. I think it might have been the internet issues that Spectrum was having, but the video froze, and of course it froze with me in the worst possible face, but then the audio went on for another 20 minutes. But anyway,
I was on FaceTime.
Yes, and during that, Angie was telling us about can you name again all the animals that you listed there? 8
dogs, 5 cats, 3 birds, and a bearded dragon. And chickens. That's what I took care of.
Wow.
It was fun.
That is a zoo.
And I don't like dogs in the bed, but I let all 4 of them little ones sleep in the bed with me.
Aww.
It was sweet. Quite fun. Yeah.
That is sweet.
I had a good time.
And speaking of the Kindle giveaway, we wanted to congratulate our winners. Donna Marie Cantrell won the first prize. She won the Kindle and an audiobook code for my first novel, In the Dark, that Kindle ships out tomorrow morning. Well, it'll be in her hands by now, but let's just say she's not in Florida, so that was kind of exciting to see that we've got that people
listeners other places
outside.
That's cool.
And second place was Sheila Chandler. She won an audiobook of In the Dark, and third place was Karen Owen. So thank you guys for playing. That was really fun. And we did do the randomizer on Facebook Live, but I think the video froze up. Anyway, but stay tuned because we have a lot of really cool giveaways coming up. We got a lot of stuff piling up in the giveaway box.
We do. And I just want to start July with saying that in September, we have a really cool event coming up that we're going to help out with, and that's the Golden Warrior Festival.
That's right.
And we kind of touched on that a little bit before. But something that we are going to be doing is we are going to try to help Elena paint the town gold.
Yes, and we start that this month.
We do. I'm starting some trying to get some freebies, right? Getting people to kind of donate some stuff for this. So the idea is what we want to do is offer Apopka businesses a huge gold ribbon that they can purchase and sport on the front door of their business.
Yep.
And, maybe we'll make a little tag that says, cancer awareness or whatever Elena wants to put on there. I got to touch base with her this week.
Yeah. That's a great idea. And the thing about the tag that's nice is then it's like more officially supporting, and I didn't just go buy a gold bow to make it look like I'm supporting.
Exactly. So we'll probably do the purple and the gold on the little tag so that everybody knows they're supporting that actual event.
The cause, yeah.
Yes. So that is going to be something that we're working hard on and all through July and August and beginning of September until the actual event.
Yep.
Painting the town gold, try to hit every Apopka business. So if you have an Apopka business and this is something you'd be interested in, please give us a shout. We'll provide the information at the end where you can leave us a voicemail or, reach out to us on any of our social media.
Yep. Or you can always email us at feedback@fineandangie.com, but we'll give all the rest of the contact information. But yeah, that's something where you're going to hear us announcing at the beginning and the end of every episode this month and every month leading up to the actual event. Mm-hmm. Because the more people that we can get involved, the more businesses we can get involved to just to buy the bows, but also to potentially help with the sort of funding some of this stuff. We're going to be helping a little bit to fund it. We're going to have other people helping, but the more funding we can get to help pull everything together, or donations or whatever, will really help. And the whole purpose of painting the town gold is it raises awareness to childhood cancer. And the more it becomes a thing that the news is reporting on, that people are noticing, awareness usually equals more money. More money usually equals more research. Research usually equals more cures. And that's the way that whole process works. So sometimes if you ever wonder, how is that helping to bring attention to it? That's how it helps.
And I always tell people, of course she's passionate about that because something is affecting her life, in this serious manner.
Of course.
So think about if there's nothing affecting you like that, how can you help other people who are going through difficult, circumstances like this?
Right. And the thing about cancer, I don't know the statistics, but every one of us knows somebody that has dealt with cancer or is dealing with cancer, whether you know it or not. It's just so many. And when you think about kids getting cancer, that's arguably the worst because, it's to my limited understanding of it, it's almost never something that they've brought on themselves. Sometimes, not that it makes it any better, but adults, sometimes our lifestyles kind of contribute to the health problems we have. When kids are dealing with things like this, it's especially heartbreaking to me because it's, they didn't ask for this. They're just trying to deal with it. And it seems to me that kids usually, even though they're the most innocent victims of cancer, they also are the bravest at dealing with it.
Oh, yeah. Kids are very resilient as well. So, and they're fighters without even knowing they're fighters, which is pretty amazing. And they can, it's funny because what the kids are going through can inspire the adults around them to make changes, to be stronger. So where a parent or somebody might be falling apart, they're seeing their kid who's heroic, and they kind of have to put that face on too. Yeah. So,
well, that's the whole. So, Golden Warriors. That's why they're called the Golden Warriors. There.
That's right.
So, the event's going to be. There's going to be a car and truck show. There'll be bounce houses. We'll get more and more details as we get closer. It's going to be a fun family event at Beef O'Brady's in Apopka, and there's T-shirts that'll be for sale. We're going to post a link in the show notes, like we did in the last two episodes. But if you come out and join us, it'd be great. They're taking donations. All the proceeds to the whole thing, including being at Beef O'Brady's, go towards the cancer research through a foundation called Alex's Lemonade Stand. And we'll be out there recording live with our little booth set up. So we hope to help you come down and see us and maybe get on the show with us or whatever.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I really would.
And I just want to let everybody know too, I think we talked about it. We are going to set some type of little donation thing up at the VIP cabana that we will be having at Wekiva Island.
That's right.
On July 14th.
Yep.
We would love for everybody to come out, enjoy your Sunday, and stop by our tent and say hello. We'll be at which one are we at? The Otter?
Oh, I should probably figure that out. But it's the one.
Yeah, we'll announce it next week.
Yeah, it's the one that faces where the kayaks and canoes come in. It's got a little sandy spot, but it's kind of away from how busy the whole front of the place is. But yeah, we'll find that out and then I'll put it on there. But Bill and Mary Weinog are awesome, and we're gonna have Mary on the show a little later as well, a little later in the month, not this episode.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's it for me for Chit and Chat.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
So stand by. We'll be right back with a guest that's very relevant as it relates to the 4th of July. So we'll see you in just a minute.
Hi, this is Steve Altier, author of the Lizardville Ghost Story series, and you're listening to It's All Fine and Dangy.
Hey guys, welcome back. And now it's time for our community call out. And today we have an especially explosive guest, or I guess I should say explosive interview, because that makes him sound angry, and he's not angry. But he travels the world doing pyrotechnics and special effects. That's right. You can get paid to blow stuff up. He is the perfect guest for our 4th of July special. He's also my little brother. Please welcome Jeremy Fox.
How are you?
Doing great.
Yeah. So we got
it's nice to be here.
We got some cool questions for you today.
It's nice to be here in your house.
Yes. Yeah. That's cool. I've been out of town for quite some time, so it is nice to be here.
When I talked to Mindy about getting together, I'm like, do we get you guys just to ourselves? Because usually that's not how it is.
Yeah. Well, normally when I'm home,
there's a small
everybody's got to come over and see him when he's off the road. So for our audience, we already know who you are and what you do and a little bit about you, but let us know a little bit about you.
I grew up in Apopka.
There's 2 of us left.
I'm never moving. I love it. But started out as a really young kid, just always loved fire. We grew up a little bit in the country. I don't know if you know much about it.
I remember as a kid, and I'm what, 8 years older than you?
Yep.
I remember hearing something explode and feeling the ground thump and thinking, that's it. He's going to have less than 10 fingers now. Sincerely, I remember thinking that.
So you said when you were younger, you were interested in fire.
I was always interested in fire. Anything that burned. Was always,
Yeah. Did you want to be a fireman or anything like that? Or was it more just you wanted to do the damage?
Yeah, putting them out never really was my thing.
That's not what you wanted to do.
I think now that I'm thinking about it, I would have to say that my Uncle Doug would probably be a lot of influence in the way that I always liked fire as a kid. Okay. Not necessarily fireworks, but fire.
Bonfire, stuff like that?
Yeah, bonfire. And yeah. Actually, I think the first fireworks that I ever built as a really young kid, was some powder that I think I found in Uncle Doug's shed.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So when you did stuff like that back then, since you said it was such a long time ago, how'd you find out the information on how to do that? Were you just kind of being creative, or?
This is before the internet was really available for anyone. So none of this information was out there. There was a couple of books that you could get a hold of that would actually give basic chemical formulas on what would create what, like a red fire, or how to make green, or how to make blue.
Wow.
So, you could go to the library. You could find all kinds of information out about, that's chemistry it's just all basic organic chemistry.
That is true.
Is that how you found out about it, from like the library or word of mouth?
No, I actually ended up getting a book from a family friend.
Nice.
That was into manufacturing fireworks as a hobby.
Oh, right.
And it had some basic formulas in it. And I've always been the type person, or I've had the personality of, why does it work? And why is it red? And how could it be better?
Jeremy's like 8 years younger than me, I think.
8.
But so that's a big difference when you're kids. He was like a little kid when I was a teenager. But I remember he was so smart. He would take like a hairdryer apart, take it apart completely, and then I don't know what he did to it, but I specifically remember you making music come out of like a motor and a hairdryer.
What the heck?
Just
Well, a electric motor is pretty much the same exact components as a speaker. You have a coil and you have magnets. So electric motor will play music if you hook it to a stereo.
I just remember this is just so next level the way I think. So I just remember thinking, wow. There was always little screws and parts and things all over the bedroom.
Yeah, it was like stepping on Legos, but they weren't Legos on the carpet.
There were reverse stepstones in our room, no kidding. Between all the little parts, there would be little clear circles of carpet so you could make it to the bed, to the dresser.
So I wonder how young that started. Were you the type of kid who, when you got a toy, did you take it apart to see how it's working?
Yeah,
how is the noise coming out?
I remember my mom telling a story about me taking my high chair apart. And I do vividly remember as a very small kid taking all the cabinet doors off of the kitchen cabinets.
So not surprising.
You were not left alone ever.
No, not with a screwdriver.
No, we got to keep him quarantined in a certain rooms because he's going to take stuff apart.
But, he never, but the funny thing is, he never, not that we're promoting kids to go do this stuff. It just depends on the kid, depends on the parents, depends on where you grow up and how you're wired. But there was never like an accident. Nothing ever happened bad. He was just curious. And
everybody has a different way of learning. Mine was more of a hands-on thing. And,
sure.
And, once you learn basic, it's like saying, how do you change the oil in a Ford F-150?
No idea.
If you've changed the oil in a Chevy, you could probably do it in a Ford. The point is that, once you learn a basic skill, no matter how advanced you are in that skill, you can relate it to other experiences. So, as far as safety, you kind of use the same safety if you were going to shoot a gun or if you were going to shoot a firework.
So you're building.
Both of them could kill you. Both,
right.
So you take safety precautions on what you're doing. So you just have a respect for it.
Yep.
I like to tell guys that I work with in the industry, especially when they're new, is, having a fear of fireworks and you working with it is not a good idea.
Not a good mix.
But being respectful and having an utmost respect for
it's different.
Because when you lose respect, it'll bite you.
Plus, when I feel like when you have fear of anything, you don't do very good at it. You get anxiety, and that's when mistakes are made. Yeah. So you sort of had this built-in, inherent sort of it's just the way you're wired to learn how to do it and to be respectful of it and everything else. But as you got further into it and it started becoming something that was a potential career for you, what do you have to do to get like certified? Is there you have to go to take a course somewhere? Is it difficult?
It's really interesting. It's interesting because of the fact that depending on what you're doing, fireworks and special effects are such a broad spectrum. There's so many different things you could do. Sure. Everything from like a propane fire to, loud explosions to big aerial outdoor fireworks displays like you would see on the 4th of July.
Are there specialists that do each one of those kinds of things?
There is. I'm kind of well-rounded in a lot a because I wanted to see what I really liked the most.
Of course.
And then there's, depending on if you're doing as a hobby or if you want to do it as a part-time thing, which I did for many years. You do your 4th of July shows, New Year's, maybe at a wedding or something like that.
Right.
Sporting events. But if you were doing it full-time as a living, that's how I got into touring. Is because touring, you can pretty much do it year-round, and it doesn't have to be your outdoor fireworks display. It could be a pyrotechnics on the stage.
Oh, yeah. Lots of variety. Yeah.
Right. But there's a big difference of fireworks. There's pretty much 3 different categories. There's stage fireworks,
right,
which are, more for a close proximate audience. You really know what it's going to do when you use it, exactly how high it's going to go, how far away it needs to be from a crowd or audience,
sure,
or performers. And then, people look at fireworks as one big general thing, but then you have the outdoor display, like you would have like the one that you would go to
Disney,
on 4th of July, Disney.
Is it like, okay.
And, those have a total different, regulations than the stage fireworks even. Both of them require a license to purchase them. But when you get into consumer fireworks, like if you were to go to a fireworks stand, like which most people do for like their 4th of July.
Sure.
There is no license for those fireworks.
Well,
they're not regulated at all by the ATF. The DOT has some regulations, but only in commerce, not for personal.
Yeah. Also, those ones that you get from like the kiosks and little things, they're not nearly as powerful as those big ones that you're doing like at Disney and those stage displays and such, right?
That's correct. As far as for a large aerial display, they're definitely not as powerful. I mean, it's always you really should use extreme caution with them. I mean, you definitely want to make sure that they're mounted flat and they don't tip over. That's a lot of the issues. I've seen so many times at a 4th of July show where, the cakes, they're not supported and they'll, multi-shot repeater.
What's a cake?
It's a multi-shot device that instead of, just lighting one fuse and one piece shoots, it'll repeat itself.
Oh, is it those big round?
It can be round or square.
Oh, okay. That's the term cake.
Box. Yeah, a cake.
It looks like a cake then.
Exactly.
I gotcha.
It's a multi-shot repeater is actually what it would be.
I gotcha.
But a cake in the terms is what we call them. But, I've seen them tip over so many times, and there's no stopping it once it starts.
No, I've seen those YouTube videos.
Yeah, I've seen it upend.
Exactly.
I learned how to you glue them down or whatever because I've had them tip over.
Sure.
You started doing firework displays probably very young, so you probably became the go-to person in the family to do these little cool displays. But what was your first official gig as far as an actual, maybe for hire or just a big event that you did?
Well, the way that it used to work, I'm actually not exactly sure how it works these days because they've changed some rules. To be on an actual display, you have to be on somebody's license, at least as a responsible person.
Gotcha.
So there's some paperwork involved, some fingerprinting, things like that. The ATF has to do a background check on you.
Oh, wow.
So years ago, when I started doing displays, that wasn't required at that point. So I did quite a few shows for free, just trying to get the experience.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think my first show was Clearwater Beach it was either 4th of July or New Year's. I want to say I think it was 4th of July.
Cool.
And so I had the opportunity to go out there and help load the show. And, the guy bought me lunch. I drove all the way out there. And, it's about an 18-hour day by the time I left and got back, but I got a lot of experience. So the next time that I had a show, I had a little bit of experience. So, that's how you do it. You get your foot in the door and you don't, there's no school or anything you can go to learn it. So you really, on the job training is really the only way. And it's definitely a difficult industry to get into. Mm-hmm.
Is it, so it's not so much just going and getting a certification. You actually need some experience?
There actually is. There is no college or anything you can go to or a VOTEC to learn pyrotechnics. It doesn't exist.
Is there a degree or anything? Like when you show up to say, I'm here, I want to apply for the pyro job or the special effects job, you can't provide some sort of certificate that says, look, I'm qualified to do this?
It depends. Again, like I was saying earlier, when you divide fireworks into 3 different categories, there's the consumer, there's the stage fireworks where you have a performer on stage versus your outdoor display.
Right.
So the consumer fireworks, if you're just in your backyard shooting it, obviously you don't need any certification and there isn't any.
Of course.
When it comes to doing outdoor display fireworks, which are like your 4th of July big shows you go to like in your city or your town.
Yep.
That type of fireworks display requires federal licensing. To be able to
more serious,
to handle the explosives, you have to be, federally licensed or on somebody else's federal license. You can't purchase them without a license. They're very strict on, the storage requirements, the shipping requirements. There's a lot involved, a lot of moving pieces in being legal with display fireworks. So to answer your question about schooling, no, there isn't any. In licensing, there's not one. This is one big general one.
Sure.
For instance, here in the state of Florida, they do not require a license to shoot a fireworks show. A state license. There's no state one.
Okay.
But federally, to purchase the fireworks, you have to have a user license or a manufacturer or user of explosives by the ATF. So on a state level, as far as licensing, there isn't one in the state of Florida. A lot of states don't require one.
Right.
However, that doesn't mean that you can just go do the fireworks show.
Right.
You're going to still have to have a permit. You're going to have from your local state or your fire marshal, either local or state. He's going to come and inspect.
Right.
He's going to make sure that you have the proper precautions, the safety distances, which they're put in there for. There's regulations on distances to audience for a display.
Sure.
Which is 70 foot per inch, which I still like to follow that one, which a lot of people don't know about, the inch in diameter of the firework.
Oh, 70 foot per inch. Okay.
To the closest person. So I prefer 100 because you don't know about wind. Wind can change last minute. You can say it can be blowing to the north all day long, and then everybody's to the south, and it swaps right at the last minute.
Oh, yes.
Things are unpredictable. You got to take into account for that.
I think we've all been to fireworks shows too, where it feels like things are falling close,
raining all over you.
Yeah. That's scary.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what I'm always afraid of.
Yeah. So the 70 foot per inch is really, it's set up for the display fireworks, for large aerial fireworks that could do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
I still, I think that no matter if it's consumer fireworks or not, 100 foot per inch is definitely a good recommendation.
Sure.
It won't stop it if it goes sideways from getting to you. No. But if it were to, the whole piece blow up, a lot of times it's far enough to keep it away from everyone.
Well, it's good to know that they do have some requirements and that you do have the fire marshal coming out and, kind of inspecting and stuff. Yeah.
And like what I do currently is a lot of stage fireworks. Yeah. So with stage fireworks, the same thing. Florida doesn't require a license, but again, you're not going to do a stage fireworks show without some sort of license in another state.
Yeah.
To get you're going to have the insurance policy.
Of course, you can't. I get where you're going. You can't just go buy. You have to be a real business. You're not just going to be an individual that's just going to pull some permit to do some big kids show. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, because nobody's going to hire someone like that to come do a show because they're responsible for this event.
Right.
And all the people that will be at the event. So they would be held responsible if something.
So there's a lot involved with liability and
So you're kind of rolling into this anyway. You talked about some of the safety precautions, like the 75 feet per inch, or 70, the 100 that you recommend. I know you've done some high profile shows, and we'll get into that. But can you tell us are there other safety precautions beyond the 75 foot? Is there for different types of special effects or fireworks or whatever the layman would call it? Surely there's more than just, it's got to be 75, 100 feet away.
Well, it depends on the device.
Right.
A fire marshal is going to go off of his code book, which is going to tell him, 70 foot per inch for an outdoor display fireworks. When we're talking what I do a lot of times, like stage indoor pyro, it's only 15 feet.
Yeah.
Now there's pieces that I could shoot 15 feet away from an audience that are way bigger than some of the stuff that you could buy even as a consumer. However, I don't recommend it. It's kind of up to your discretion, even though the rule says that it's 15 feet because the fireworks are built for a close proximate audience.
Right. So they don't have a large spray pattern kind of thing?
No, they're just, they are held to a very tight standard. And if it says that it goes at 225 feet, it doesn't go 275. It goes 225, maybe 230 or 200. Gotcha. So if I'm shooting indoors, I can shoot, let's say I do a lot of stage pyro. Say my truss height or the top of the stage is at 45 feet. I wouldn't want to shoot a 45 foot piece of product because it could hit the roof still.
Sure.
But 30 foot, that's perfect.
Because it's going to go 30
and it's going to go 30 feet.
So what about like when you do, I've seen shows where flames are coming up in the stage, and the musician walks away where the flames are and then they come back in that area. I'm sure you've got precautions that way too. Like the artist has to be a certain spot, or is it sort of choreographed that much or not really?
It's choreographed pretty well. Normally, the current tour that I'm on right now, we have a lot of flames, and the artist, he's all over the car. We have a car that we actually burn. We have 14 propane burn bars on an old Cadillac.
Wow.
All the windows are out. It's all gutted, but the audience, to them, it just looks like an old beat up Cadillac. But our artist gets on the hood and the roof and the trunk and everything. It's on fire at different points. He jumps off. It lights the second he hops off. But there's a lot of safety precaution that we have to do. And, we use an extra spotter, which has a direct comm that he's talking directly to the shooter.
Oh, okay.
Vice versa. And,
okay, that's what I meant. So he's yelling, okay, you're clear.
Yeah. And, if he's not, then it stays disarmed. And so you really, you have to stay on your toes with those.
Of course.
A lot of the stage pyro, we use a lot of flames. Flames, they kind of fall under a different category than pyrotechnically as far as their rules are slightly different. Because they don't have fallout, like you have fire and you have the heat, but you don't have pieces of debris that come down burning and things
Once
like that.
Once it's off, it's done.
Yeah.
It's gone. Yeah. So what about like outdoor venues where there's fireworks seem to go off to music and stuff? Is that all run by computer?
Yep. Back originally, the way that it was done was actually done with what they called a pin board. And it was when it went into electronic firing. Originally, fireworks were always hand fired. And there was really no way that you could get anywhere.
What does that mean by hand fired?
A lot of times that people would use like a road flare, and they would walk around with a fire suit on, and they would light. Wow. You would set your show up in pods where it was safe. You had egress to get out,
right?
And then you would kind of pre-plan on what you were going to light first and second. So when you lit something, you could turn and go the other way and light something away from you. To kind of keep the show going.
Yeah.
Holy.
There's not a lot of hand lit shows anymore.
Yeah.
I mean,
that seems like a lot more work.
And it's
seems more dangerous.
Definitely a lot more dangerous.
Yeah.
But so nowadays everything is done with electronic fired. So what they have an electronic igniter that actually goes in the device, and there's zero delay.
Yeah.
When you hit the fire button, it goes now.
That's how
that's cool.
That's probably how they get what you tell us. Sometimes fireworks displays are spot on the music.
So there's a lot that is involved in that because there's a launch time and break time.
Sure.
So you have to know the launch to break time. So if you're shooting, say, a 6-inch aerial shell, a lot of times it's like 3.2 seconds roughly.
So you got to launch it 3.2 seconds before the beat.
Before it needed to go.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh, that's cool.
So, there's a lot that to dial it in like Disney does. It's to the T. We're talking to the frame. Right. They video their shows every night, and they keep them 30 frames per second, and the shells break on the frame.
Wow.
So that's cool to go back and look at, too.
And if it's off slightly, everything's perfectly adjusted.
Oh, that's great.
It doesn't get any better than the way that they do it. They use top-of-the-line firing systems, and because they do the same show every night, they have the capability to tweak it.
Perfect.
If you're doing a 4th of July show, it's a one-off.
Of course,
maybe once a year. Yeah,
exactly. No one's going to know if it was a red shell or an orange one. At Disney, it would make a huge difference.
Well, we just talked about videoing fireworks, which is hilarious.
Well, that's when you would watch them, because I made a joke about how no matter how much you love fireworks, everybody films them. Nobody watches them unless you work in the industry.
Exactly.
The guy that's filming them with his kids doesn't break out. Who wants to watch fireworks from last year? No, we want to go watch them live. It's one of those things like a rainbow.
Yeah, the feel of it. You
right.
It's experience. It's not watching a film.
But of course, hearing that Disney gets it to perfection doesn't surprise me. We've established I'm a big Disney nerd. I feel like they do that with everything, but that's cool to hear that they're such perfectionists with their show.
Yeah.
I worked there for 5 years, actually. I worked on the Magic Kingdom fireworks show, Wishes. And
yes, you did.
Yeah, it was definitely a good experience. I learned a lot there.
I think that's a great thing to have underneath your belt, too. I mean, there's another thing that you can say that you've done.
Years of experience of fireworks previous to working there, but it's a lot different when you do it every day. You learn things about even the firing system that you would never run across those problems, because when you're doing 200 shows a year, I probably shot 200 shows a year when I worked there.
Wow.
Where you're not going to 200 shows if you did a 4th of July and a New Year's. I mean,
how many years is that going to take?
Right. Yeah.
No, that's true. So you basically get a lifetime worth of pyro or firework experience from just working there for a year.
Exactly,
a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And you probably appreciated how meticulous they were in getting it right, because you're wanting to perfect your craft,
vendors
really.
to really high standards, which is good. I mean,
so I heard a rumor. Do they really have their colors patented?
Not that I'm aware of.
Right.
There is one manufacturer.
That would have been so cool.
Yeah.
There's one manufacturer that I'm aware of that has patented fireworks formulas.
Okay.
Most of the time it's a trade secret. Nobody wants to tell you your recipe, for instance. It's like baking a cake, oh, mine's better. It has a little bit of, whatever.
I'll tell you what 10 of the things are, but there's a special something in there that I'm not going to tell you what
I get it. I get it.
And with fireworks, I like to refer it a lot like cooking. I can tell you what ingredients are in it, but it's the amount of each ingredient, when you put each ingredient in, there's a big, the purity of the ingredient could be a huge thing.
So it's a little bit of a creative process. When you're not trying to duplicate the same show every night, like Disney, it gets more creative, I would assume, within reason.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's cool. All right. So you're home for a couple of weeks, and then you're back on tour again, and you've been on tour with some pretty cool groups doing pyro and some of this different things on the stage, because I don't want to just say pyro, because we're talking about some different things. What are some of the bands you've toured with? And then also maybe what are some of the favorite parts of the show you've done? Like, is it the fireworks? Is it the flame work?
It's neat. It's interesting that you asked that. So, currently I'm a freelancer. I work for a couple different companies. One of the companies that I work for, I do most of my work, the Super Bowls. We do wrestling.
Wow, that's impressive.
I've done the past 3 Super Bowls.
I know. That's very impressive.
But we're an effects company. So the company itself, we do lasers, we do fog, we do flames, pyrotechnics.
Well, yeah, you think of
anything
a concert,
that
all that's
confetti,
there.
All of it. You name it. We do bubbles. I mean, you name it. Whatever it is for a special effect, our company does it. So, I'm definitely a pyrotechnics guy. So my background is fireworks. I do flames. I know how to do cryogenics and how to do confetti and how to do these things, but it's not where my passion's at. But occasionally you have to do that while you're out on tour.
Yeah, of course.
And the thing is, I do spend a lot of time away from home, and I'm going to do what I'm passionate about, what I love, to try to offset the reason why I'm not at home. So,
that's true. Yeah.
I don't want to do a job I don't like. I love what I do.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
You have to love what you do to sacrifice time away from your family.
Yeah.
So what is cryogenics? I got to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So cryogenics are basically, it's like carbon dioxide that's in the bubbles in your soda.
Right.
So a regular CO2 tank, that would carbonate a soda.
Right.
If you just have the regular tank and you were to let the gas out of the tank,
right,
the tank is full of liquid, but the liquid is turning to gas when it's boiling. Technically, it's boiling. That's what it means to go from liquid to a gas.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes out at about negative 100 degrees Fahrenheit.
Right.
It's so cold.
Yeah.
There's a special kind of tank that they call a dip tube tank.
Right.
So instead of having the vapor come out, there's a tube that goes all the way to the bottom of the big tank. And when you open it up, liquid CO2 comes out. And then it has to turn from liquid CO2 back into a gas. So when you shoot it through a jet, we call it cryo.
Right.
And it makes like a white dissipating cloud or a fog that dissipates really fast. You see it a lot of times. DJs use it a lot. It's a quick burst, normally a little bit of a loud, sound when it comes out.
Sure.
But
that's neat.
You can completely white out a stage but it dissipates almost instantly.
Oh, that's so unlike traditional fog that sort of lingers for a while.
It's instant.
That's very cool.
Yep.
I'm glad I asked.
Yeah. So I just have a quick side question. So with touring with the different groups you have, do you ever get any input as far as what you think they should do on the stage? Or is that something that they've kind of put together? They have an idea of it and they hire your company to put the effects together. Do you guys have any input as far as what you think they should do on the stage?
So a lot of times, if for a concert anyway, there is a designer. And the designer has a vision. But his vision is he's the designer that's doing the lighting. He's doing the stage design. He's doing the way the video looks, all of it. But he's not the one actually doing it all. He has an idea or a vision. And the artist will give him input on how he likes things done or what they're looking at. And then they'll come to a company like ours and ask us if we can create what his vision was. However, a lot of times they don't know the effects very well. So we will either do a 3D render of exactly what they're looking for, or either we'll do a short demo and actually show them some devices or video of a different show that we did that had something that's similar that they liked.
Yeah.
And then it goes through a rehearsal process and they decide if they like it, if they want to keep it, everybody's comfortable with it. If it's really close to an artist, there's definitely a lot of rehearsals to make sure that the artist doesn't flinch and stop singing halfway through his song when something happens.
Right.
It's like how an architect can build this magnificent home, but the plumber says, no, that can't be done. We have to do it like this. So
for instance, like the Super Bowl, there's one main designer it's got they hired to do this big, it's a big art piece for the most part.
Yeah, it really is.
And they'll give you ideas and we'll do 3D renders in software that will actually not only have the music with it, but it'll actually show, like you were talking about with aerial fireworks, it'll do a launch time break. It'll actually show a 3D render of the firework on an actual picture or a video of the actual environment that you're in.
That's cool.
That's good at doing something like that.
That's down my speed. So that's like augmented reality. So
Exactly.
they're putting the 3D image on top of the real image. That's very cool.
And it looks it's expensive, but when you're talking,
of course,
Super Bowl, they can
afford it.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I'm glad you asked that.
Well, you don't have the time with a Super Bowl or big events like that. You don't have the time to do major rehearsals.
Yeah.
You do rehearsals, but you already have the product there that you already agreed on by
then. Of course.
Right.
Well, so speaking of Super Bowl, what are some of the music acts that you've traveled with? Just name a few.
A few. Last year I was out with Roger Waters from Pink Floyd.
Very nice.
I've toured with Coldplay, Drake.
Wow.
Lil Wayne.
Nice.
Jason Aldean.
Wow.
Luke Bryan. Halsey. Yeah, I mean,
the list goes on. That is a big list. All right. So
who is now?
I'm out with 21 Pilots right now. Yeah.
All right. So who is the coolest? Oh, man, you don't have to tell us who the coolest was. Just tell us one of your
really corny.
Yeah. Okay.
But I would say Donnie Wahlberg from New Kids on the Block is pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's crazy as that is.
Who was the coolest? But what was the coolest show that you did as far as your display?
You know, that's a hard one.
Are they all like dramatically different?
Yeah, they are completely.
Well, which one did you enjoy the most?
Yeah, that's a fair question.
It's too hard for him. He enjoyed them all.
That's a very hard one. It really is, because each show has its own element about
it that
could be really good. Right. So and I hate to say it, but when I leave one tour and go to another one, my whole mindset is now in that one. You kind of have to put that one behind.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I try to do the best I can do at every show that I'm at.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
That was a loaded question too, asking you who was the coolest. I wouldn't expect you to say, but that's cool. Yeah. That's a very cool list of people to have traveled with. Yeah. Do you ever get to meet any of them?
Yeah. A lot of times it's a working relationship.
Sure.
I mean, when you work close with an artist, you're not going to go hang out and have pizza and a beer with him after work.
Of course.
But you're going to talk to him daily to make sure that he's safe and that he's happy with what you're doing.
Yeah.
And something needs to be changed.
That's what I mean. Yeah, of course.
Because you're making them look good.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they got, you want to make sure that communication is there. Definitely.
You guys are part of, and I'm doing the quotes, the crew.
Right. To me, it's not about... It's mainly about safety. If I talk to an artist, it has to do with safety.
That's what you're focused on.
Right.
That's smart, though. That's great. I mean, so
we don't get a second chance. If you burn the artist, everybody goes home.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. That's true.
And then you're the guy.
Right.
Yeah.
The guy that did it.
What's the biggest fireworks display you've ever done?
2014 New Year's in Dubai was the Dubai World Record. It was at that time, it was the largest fireworks show ever shot.
Ever in the history of the world?
Ever in the history of the world.
Wow.
Yeah. And actually it was a lot bigger. So I'm trying to think of the number. 500 and something thousand pieces of fireworks that were shot.
Yeah. Wow. How many people did they have doing that? Like
about 300.
300
like an
guys
army.
doing that.
Wow.
For some guys were on that project for 5 to 6 months. I was there for 3 months.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That is cool. I remember seeing
I think the actual that record at that point was, if I don't want to get it wrong, so I think it was 469,551, I believe was the Guinness World Record on that
Is that really the number?
That's really the number. The Guinness guys.
If you remember that, you're the Rain Man, dude.
I remember numbers.
Holy smokes.
When we were done with that fireworks show, we actually had to walk away from it. We were allowed to grab our firing system, and then there was a group of guys for the next 3 days that went by with, I believe it maybe even more than 3 days, from the Guinness Book guys. And they went around and made sure, and they counted all of our misfires, the pieces that did not fire.
Oh, that's if you're going to be in the list.
So it wasn't just the ones that you loaded, it was the ones that fired.
Well, they're very serious about the Guinness Book of World Records, making sure it's legit.
So it's been beaten since then. I don't know what the current record is.
Yeah.
But previous to that, I think the record was 70,000.
I think I saw that on television. Didn't they air that?
I believe they did. Yeah.
The largest fireworks display, or was it online or something?
Yeah,
it was definitely online.
It was online.
Yeah. I thought I'd seen that.
Yeah. So your family's happy to have you back in town. You're here for a little bit.
Yep.
You guys doing anything fun for the 4th, or are you doing some work?
I'm coming down for 14 days off of tour, and yes, I'm shooting a 4th of July show.
Oh, there's the passion right there.
But guess what? You're going to have fun doing it, and everybody's going with you, so hey.
Lake Jackson in Sebring, Florida. We're doing a city show there. Yeah,
you do that every year normally when you can? Or
the guy that I work with through there, he does it every year. He's been doing it for... I don't even know how long. I mean, way longer than I've been doing fireworks. His family's been shooting that show.
Okay, cool.
So, but yeah, it's a nice show.
Yeah.
Good show to be a part of.
And the family's gone with you, right?
That's correct.
Okay,
yeah.
I can say their names, right?
Yeah. Do you find, of course, that that's a relaxing thing to kind of go do with the family, and you're not under as much pressure when you're going to do it for fun? Maybe not this one, but just in general when you're going to do it for fun.
Yeah, I mean, I always do it for fun. That's the thing.
Oh, that's a great answer.
My job is fun.
That's a great answer.
I do it for fun.
That's a wrap. That's a great answer.
That's it. That's how we end the show.
Really
well,
is.
yeah. And anybody that you want to, kind of give a shout out to, or any organizations that you're involved with as far as pyrotechnics.
There is.
Just call them fireworks.
There is some clubs actually. I mean, it's neat that you asked that. There's the biggest club in the entire world is called PGI. It's the Pyrotechnics Guild International, and I think it's PGI.org. They are a huge fireworks club, and it's everything from people that want to learn how to manufacture fireworks as a hobbyist. There's professionals in it that manufacture commercially, but there's everything from that to people that just like to watch fireworks, or people that just like to shoot consumer fireworks. It's
all
a
on
huge
that
club. Wow! And I mean, there's. I don't want to give the wrong number, but it's 30,000 plus members. It's a very large club.
That is cool. Well, I'll put a link in the description of the show for that, for sure.
That club is they do a one big event every year, and they call it their the PGI is what it stands for.
Yeah.
It's the name of it, but they call it PGI.
Where do they hold that normally? Is it all over?
They're normally out west.
Okay.
Normally, so Iowa, Wisconsin.
Oh.
But locally here in Florida, we have another club. We've been a club since 1991. It's called the Florida Pyrotechnic Arts Guild. And
that's a long one.
Yes. It's called FPAG is what we call it, or FPAG, but Florida Pyrotechnic Arts Guild. And it's a neat club. It's a small club. Some of the best builders in the world are members of the club.
Cool.
We do 2 events every year. One we call our 4F, which is our big one, which is the Florida Fall Fireworks Festival. And it hosts different places. South Florida, a lot of times where we do it. And then we also do a 2F, which is our Founders Festival. And so they're about 6 months apart.
Are they open to public? Like public?
You have to be a member to go.
Okay.
But membership is fairly inexpensive. There's everything from people that want to learn how to manufacture fireworks all the way to people that just like to buy consumer fireworks and shoot them, or just people that just love fireworks.
And they want to know the best ones or whatever.
Are they like showing you how to make fireworks there?
There is. There's clubs. Oh, wow. Yeah. Once you can join these organizations, and then under their license, you can learn how to manufacture fireworks as a hobby.
Nice. Yeah. That's great. So I'll put a link to that one as well.
Yeah. I have a question, because I thought you got some kind of award or something before.
That was actually with that club. Years ago, I won the Pyrotechnics Master. So it was a pretty
cool.
big achievement. They don't give that one out every year. You have to compete in a bunch of different categories. And
how come that's not out here on your dining room table?
It's actually, that award is like having a wrestling belt. It changes to the person, whoever wins it that year. So you hold the title.
Oh, so you got to give it up.
That's correct.
Wow.
It's like
you can see I have a lot of little trophies over there.
It's like the Miss America crown.
But yeah, that
like
one is
crown.
the one that you just have to give it up, unfortunately.
Right.
I held it for a few years, but nobody. It's actually very hard when you get. As long as you have a picture of
yourself with it, that's all that matters.
Wow, that's cool.
All right, very cool. I actually learned a lot today.
So did I. And can I be honest for a minute?
Really a lot.
I've always been super proud of the fact that you do this, but I've never been like super interested in fireworks like you are. We've all got our thing. That was really interesting. There's a lot of stuff about it I didn't know. I didn't realize how much of a creative process it is.
Your brother does more than just blow crap up, okay?
Well, I know that. I always talk about how smart he is, but I just...
he does.
I just... That's cool, because of all the stuff I knew from you doing it, I didn't realize, first of all, how creative you can get, but also how many different angles that you have to approach with this. So it's that was very educational, and we're going to pass on some of that information just by having this interview and this little talk. But I'm also going to post a link in the description of the show for the Florida Pyrotechnics Arts Guild for people that want to go join or check it out, as well as the PGI.org Fireworks Club. Yep. So, Jeremy, thanks for sitting down with us.
Yes.
That
was fun. It was great.
That was awesome.
Yeah, everybody be safe out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look, we have all high five with all 5 fingers. Keep them that way.
That's right. I pride myself on that.
And don't mix alcohol with fireworks. They don't go well together.
That's correct. It's neat that you mentioned that, actually. And when we were younger, we always did 4th of July shows, even, they're like backyard shows.
Yeah.
And always, I mean, even to this day, if I shoot a 4th of July backyard show, everybody's, have a beer. I wait until we're done.
That's super smart.
I do not drink. I don't mix it with it.
Yeah.
So it's definitely.
I mean, that's how you keep people from getting hurt.
Yep, it is.
Indeed.
And the thing is, like, started as a hobby for me.
Yeah.
So I'm still very passionate about it as a hobby, but it's also what I do for a living. So it's very important that you make sure that those two mesh together.
Yeah.
And that you don't ruin what you do for your career with the hobby, especially with a couple beers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
God forbid something happened at the house and that affects your livelihood.
So I guess the point to get from that is if you're going to be enjoying some beers this 4th, then sit back and let the professionals take care of the fireworks.
There you go.
Yeah. And we're going to wrap on that, guys. We'll be back after our break with our information station, or as Angie says it,
choo-choo, the information station.
All right, we'll be right back.
Hey guys, welcome back. We hope that you enjoyed that interview with Mr. Jeremy Fox. We know we did.
Yes, indeed.
It's very interesting learning all that stuff about him.
It really is.
You knew more than I did.
I'm not just saying that because he's my brother, but he's a really smart guy, really nice guy. And it's cool to hear about all the stuff he's into and kind of the way all that stuff works.
Yeah.
You know, it's an exciting career.
So it is time for the information station.
Yes, it is.
So we both picked things to focus on because it is 4th of July week. It's Independence Day.
That's right.
And okay, I'm going to admit this. I don't like history. I've never have. I mean, I'm starting to get a little more interested when I, learn something. So I don't want to take a deep dive, but I don't even know. I don't know when, our Independence Day was. Hate me if you want to.
Well,
whatever.
Can I tell you, though, that, some people get really irritated by that. I think it's very brave to admit that because there's so many people that when you know them as a friend, there's so many supposedly important historical things about our country and just the world that they don't know. They don't know geography. They don't know where something is. And I'm the same way with stuff sometimes. So I don't think there's anything wrong with, as an adult saying, I don't really know. Maybe I should, but now I feel like I want to learn about it. I mean, otherwise you could just stay in the dark forever and be afraid to kind of tell somebody you didn't know. I
think it's important. It is important to, I guess, know that stuff. But I think when it comes to dates of wars and stuff like that, I feel like it's kind of I don't know. It's kind of depressing to me, Yeah. I mean, that's just my own personal belief,
Sure.
And,
of course.
I'm not opposed to knowing it, but it's just not something that I've,
got stuck in your head.
Sat there and gone, 1772, whatever. I don't even know. I'm just kind of guessing.
And I wouldn't necessarily know the year right offhand. I knew it's 1770 something, but it's 1776. I know that because I recently refreshed myself before we did this show.
Okay.
But the interesting thing about the 4th of July, and a lot of people probably don't even know what it is, but the 4th of July is obviously our Independence Day, when we celebrate ourselves becoming independent. And I say ourselves, but it's really those 13 colonies that were at war with Great Britain. And the 4th of July is what's funny is it's not really the day we actually became independent. That's the 2nd of July. But the 4th of July is the day that Congress officially issued the Declaration of Independence.
Okay.
So it's when
tying in now.
Right. So when things sort of became, officially announced, it took them 2 days to announce the Declaration of Independence. But that's what the 4th of July is celebrating, that these 13 colonies were no longer part of Great Britain. They were now completely independent states. And so
cool.
That's where it all started. Now, if you're like me, you're probably thinking, what the heck's it got to do with fireworks?
I do. And that's actually why I looked up some information on fireworks.
What'd you find out?
Well, the first thing I wondered is why 4th of July? Why is it such a big deal on 4th of July?
Right.
And what I found out was that John Adams actually encouraged, in a letter that he wrote to his wife, he encouraged the display of, this should be a big deal. This day, there should be parades. There should be, the sky should light up.
Yep.
And
I think he encouraged gunfire and all kinds of explosion, or maybe it was bonfires. It was gunfire and bonfires was two of them.
Yeah. So he was the one that was kind of encouraging this like big festival almost.
Right.
But, where did fireworks actually come from?
Yeah.
I think you did a little research on that too, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
I could tell.
That's good, though. I like it because you probably don't have exactly the same information I do, and it probably all merges together.
Okay. So what research did you find out about where fireworks first originated?
2,000 years ago in China.
Yeah, that's what I found new.
During the Han Dynasty in 200 BC?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And do you know about the bamboo stalks?
Yes. So they used to throw the bamboo stalks in the fire and they would crack and pop.
That's right.
And they believed that helped to ward off evil spirits.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that part.
So that's why they did it. And then in like 600 to 900 AD was the first, they figured out that they made like a concoction of, powder, phosphorus and stuff like that. And the first kind of gunpowder was made.
Gunpowder was born, yeah.
And so they started pouring it into a hollowed out bamboo piece. And that was like the first man-made fireworks. The Chinese are really responsible for a lot of cool stuff.
I do agree.
Think about it.
I totally agree.
I mean, they've really they've invented some cool stuff.
Yeah. And I do totally agree. What's interesting to me, and it's funny because I tend to go for the, you learned about the spirit thing, and I was thinking of the science behind why before the gunpowder was poured into the stalk, or the precursor to gunpowder was poured into the hollow stalk, just the hollow stalks would sort of explode. Yeah. Not in a way that's like gunpowder explosion, but almost like the way I was reading it, it kind of made me think of like if you ever put like a golf ball in the fire, rubber bands start popping, and it's not exploding, but it's making noise and moving.
Yeah, yeah.
But what's funny is they call that bazoo. If I'm pronouncing this, that's the Mandarin word for firecracker, which literally translates to exploding bamboo.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So thus the term firecracker. Yeah.
Yeah. So then because I was like, okay, so how did they make their way all the way across the continent, the world, to the other side of the world? But it talks about in the 13th century how they became popular in Europe, and the Italians were actually the first to manufacture them.
Yep.
And that in Europe, they were widely used for religious festivals and entertainment.
Right.
So, and usually by the wealthier.
Sure.
To mark political events or things like that. So that's how they came to Europe.
That's also how they started becoming a more common representation of celebration.
Yes. Yes. And then they were actually, of course, we know people that settled here.
Right.
From Europe. So guess what they brought with them?
Gunpowder.
Yeah. And, the idea of fireworks.
Yeah.
Having fireworks on special occasions, religious events,
right.
The marking of a special day. Hence, John Adams encouraging a display up in the sky of these. And the rocket red glare.
Oh, you know what I can think of when you do that?
I don't know.
All I can think of is Aunt Bethany.
Aunt Bethany.
Aunt Bethany in Christmas Vacation when the Santa Claus explodes in the methane gas and she starts singing that. Oh boy!
I'm sure everybody loved my singing voice.
No, I did, but that's interesting because that not just how fireworks became part of the 4th of July, but how they became part of celebration, and it's those kinds of traditions, and that's almost a global transition, or that's almost a global tradition, basically. And it's among all the changes that we go through with all of our technology, things like fireworks stay around. That's still a representation of celebration. And it's not just 4th of July, it's every kind of big celebration, especially the 4th of July, of course.
Yeah. We hear fireworks every night because we're not that far from Disney.
Yeah.
And so if we're standing outside, we can even see them in some places where we drive right around here.
Right.
You gotta kind of be up a little more and have like a without any big, huge trees or anything, but we can actually see them.
We can. And that's probably interesting for those of you that are not in Florida. But when I used to take the kids all the time, driving back to our house, there's some interstates that are relatively new and they're kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And so driving back on what we refer to as the 429, you can see nothing but black as far as you can see. And then all of a sudden, the fireworks just start coming out of nowhere when you drive. So it's like a free display if you just pulled over right there. But yeah, that's true. You can see them. Yeah. That's cool. So I will put links in the show notes around a little more information of the sort of history of fireworks, if that interests you, the history of how we came to celebrate with the 4th of July, a little bit of history around the Declaration of Independence, which I found was somewhat interesting. You know, these are the things I really I'm going to be like Angie and sort of spill it here, but I wasn't that interested in this stuff when I was in school.
I never was.
And I hate to admit it, but like when we went to the Hall of Presidents, not the Hall of Presidents, we went to Epcot and we went to the USA and we went to the American Dream or whatever that animatronic show was. I really enjoyed it. And that's the kind of thing as a kid, I would have slipped into a coma. So sometimes the things that you're taught in school, I almost feel like are a little too soon. You know, you got a lot of other things on your mind, social life, girls, boys, whatever you're doing. It's funny how you'll find yourself watching a documentary at home that you could have been exactly the same one they tried to get you to watch in school when you're falling asleep at your desk or passing notes or something, you know?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're using your free time to do it.
You know what I am guilty of, which I should get better.
Murder?
No. I'm guilty of being more interested in the culture or history of other places than here. And I feel like that's probably normal because maybe in high school and stuff, they're trying to push it, you know?
Yeah, sure. Plus, you know so much about the culture here. There's it's not as mysterious.
It's kind of like things that go on in other places are more interesting to me.
Well, that's the beauty.
There's a lot of interesting things here and a lot of history that is interesting that other, people in other places are learning about. So I think, watching some documentaries and stuff like that.
Well, that's the beauty of living.
I don't love the ones about war and stuff.
Oh, I don't either.
It bums me out.
Well, that's the beauty of living in Florida, though. Living in Florida, we have so many people that move here from other areas of the U.S., from other countries, that we get a lot of mixed culture here that you don't get everywhere else in the U.S.
And Florida especially. It's really, we have a good little melting pot here.
We do.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's pretty much all the history I had pulled together. I just wanted to for a 4th of July special, I wanted to make sure that we talked about what's the 4th of July all about, what's the fireworks about. You're right on the same page with me there.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good,
because that's what come on, really, when you think of 4th of July, what are people thinking about? The fireworks.
I do have a question.
I mean, really, nobody's thinking about the history of it. We're thinking about the fireworks.
I love the celebrations. I love the fireworks. I think all of that is super cool. But besides people like Jeremy that they're doing this for a living, I've always said this, and it makes everybody laugh. But you ever notice that people are recording the fireworks? You've heard me say this.
Yes.
Think about this, the listeners, you guys out there, listen. How many times have you said, "Hey kids, let's go back and watch the recording of the fireworks from last year"? Nobody
besides your brother.
Nobody does that. It's just one of those things that you have to experience live. It's no fun to watch.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things like that you take pictures of, and it's like a beautiful sunset or something.
It's just not the same.
Remember, we were driving home down the 429 one night, and you were trying to take a picture of that beautiful sunset, and I'm like, just look at it.
Well, so let me retract a little. A good picture of fireworks is awesome, but I'm talking about video. People record videos. It'd be like recording a video of a sunset. It's one of those things where you're just like, no.
we're not going to sit down and watch that.
Nobody's ever going to watch that. And that reminds me of when my son Jacob was born. I would record him in like the swing and sleeping. And I love him to death, but I could never watch. Those are the other examples of things.
He's doing nothing different.
You're never going to watch. There's certain things you're just not going to watch on video recorded.
That's true.
So I guess I'm going to tie this back in to say, when you're out there having your 4th of July celebrations, just enjoy the moment. Enjoy the fireworks live. Put your phone away.
Yeah.
For once.
Don't watch them through your phone.
And just, watch them up in the sky. Don't watch them in your phone.
And this is coming from a techie guy.
This really is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't watch everything through the phone.
Yeah, but you take a lot of pictures.
Yeah, that's because I can't remember anything. So when I'm old, I want to be able to look at stuff and go, oh, those are my kids.
Oh, there they are.
All right, I think that's going to wrap us up. But before we go, I wanted to give a couple shout outs. We haven't done that in a while, but I want to give a shout out to MG Unger. He is in the final stage of editing his test print of his upcoming novel, Divided and Enhanced 2124. Yeah. I talked to him today, and he's tagging little things he wants to make little changes to, but he's got a print copy of his book. It's a very exciting time. So stay tuned because we are going to be helping to announce his book launch date. But congrats to MG on that.
That's pretty cool.
It really is.
Yeah. And also, whoa, that was loud. Keep an eye on the social media all throughout this month to learn more about the Golden Warrior Festival.
Indeed.
And how we're going to be helping to raise awareness and hopefully some proceeds towards that.
Yep.
And don't forget, we want to hear from you, even if it's just to say hi. Give us a shout, 407-490-3899, or email us. Feedback@findanddangy.com, or check out any of our social media. We want to know what you're up to or what you want us to be up to. How about that?
That's great. And all of our social media is Fine and Dangy. Later on this year, we're going to have a month all about teachers. We're going to have a month all about local businesses. We are excited for a lot of the stuff that we've got going, and we're going to be doing some more work with some local charities as well. And we'll give some more information as we get closer to that.
Mm-hmm. And I'm excited for October because October is Halloween and Hops month, y'all.
That's right. Halloween and Hops.
It's going to be fun.
So Angie and I always go to the Hard Rock Hotel's Halloween party. We're going to be talking a little bit more about that as we get closer. We go all out. We'll post some pictures on Fine and Dangy of our previous costumes that we make from scratch.
Yes,
and
we do.
By we, I mean Angie does 80% of it, but I do my makeup and stuff.
You do.
I've done some spray painting.
Hey, if you have any ideas for that, send them our way.
Oh, we would love ideas for that. I'll tell you what we have done. We've done Jack and Sally. We've done Beetlejuice and Lydia. We've done Colonial Ghosts. And we've done Hook and Tinkerbell.
Yes, we did. And we won first place with that one.
Really
2-night stay to the Hard Rock Hotel.
That's the only time we've ever entered the contest because we always show up too late. So from now on, we're going to try to get there early.
We've learned we have to stay at the hotel to make it in time because you have to be down in the lobby, like walking around early so they can start casting their votes.
That's true. It is so fun, though. So we also encourage you to go. If you've never been to it's called Velvet Sessions, and they do it every month, but the Halloween one's the only one we go to.
Best.
It is so fun. It's hard to describe, but they usually have usually an older band in there, but it's been like Bret Michaels or whoever. But everyone's just in a really good mood. It's a great time. It's a very classy.
Adults only.
Yep, it's a very classy place, and lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. It'd be cool to see you guys out there too.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
So that wraps for now.
It does. It wraps us up.
It does.
And we're going to enjoy our vacation next week.
Indeed, we are.
And hopefully you will see us on FaceTime Live.
Or Facebook Live, yep.
What is it called?
Facebook Live.
Okay, Facebook Live.
And depending on how busy we are, I just didn't want to make a commitment here, but we may record a very short show and just kind of pop in and say hi. It's not going to be edited and cleaned up like it is here. You might hear background noise. We might even do it from the beach. So
that would be real fun.
Right.
That would be real fun. And guess what we will be doing? We'll be doing it while we're drinking rum runners.
That is going to happen.
That is the rule.
That is the rule. So it's going to get a little silly.
All right. Well, that was great.
That was great. So just remember, at the end of the day, it's all fine and dangy. That's okay. And we're gonna cut. What you will get here is I try to get from fun. Is we'll talk for.
Have a dream. I feel like that
you could.
Don't watch it right now. I can't.
I love it.
Oh, yeah.
All right, ready?